In some households, one of the challenges of lockdown has been everyone having to be together all the time. Yes, of course, it has been very tough for those living alone, but it has also been difficult for families living in overcrowded and cramped conditions. How do you do homeschooling if there's no space to study? How do you work from home if you have nowhere at all to set up some sort of office? We know that tempers can get very frayed if there is not enough physical space for everyone. Where do you go if you want some privacy? If you are tired or stressed or cross or unhappy? Particularly, where do you go when you are in a strop? Where do you go to and sulk? Is there anyone here who does not sulk? Who has never sulked? Of course not. It's part of being human. But where do you go to sulk? Usually we need to be on our own, so we might go to the bathroom, which is the only place you can get any privacy in some households. The corner of the playground, perhaps, under the bed. Where else? What is going on when we sulk? It's not fair. I have been badly treated. I have been made to look a fool. Nobody likes me. I don't care. Think I'll go and eat worms. I'll run away, and then they'll be sorry. You know, there's been a survey done amongst children, and it does seem to be the case that all children think about running away at some time or another. And grown-ups do it too. Some might run away to the pub, or to the garage, or to the shed, or the allotment, or to a friend's house, or go out for a walk, or go to the gym, or go to the cafe. Where do you go when you're having a sulk? What makes us sulk? Often it's not getting our own way, or being in the wrong but not wanting to admit it, or thinking that other people are getting more favourable treatment, or feeling overlooked or undervalued, or perhaps feeling let down or misunderstood. Usually, in some way or another, we sulk because it isn't fair. Those hired first sulked because they expected more money and felt cheated, even though they were paid what was agreed. Notice that the landowner pays them last, so they have to stand and watch everyone else get paid before they do. And when they get the same, they think it isn't fair. Jonah sulked because he felt set up. He did not want the people of Nineveh to repent. He did not want God to forgive them. He wanted them to get what was coming to them. If they did not get what was coming to them, then it wasn't fair. Don't these two things make us, our society, sulk too? People who don't deserve it getting the same as us. People who ought to be punished getting away with it somehow. It isn't fair. Don't we hate it when people that we think are undeserving seem to get the same as us? Stuff you read in the press about scroungers, skivers and bogus asylum seekers plays on our fears and resentments about other people somehow cheating us. Don't we hate it when people who we believe have done wrong seem to get let off? Thieves and robbers who only get community orders rather than prison sentences. Politicians who get away with adultery or corruption. Murdering drunken drivers who seem to think that all they have to do is say sorry and somehow that makes it all better, and then they should be allowed to be back on the road again. We don't like people to be forgiven. We want a system that is tough on crime, that locks people up, that makes people pay, that punishes them, that makes them suffer. We want a system, a way of life that guarantees that the ones who deserve it get more than the ones who do not. And we know that we are the ones who deserve it, and they are the ones who do not. We want a system that rewards the righteous, the ones like us, and punishes the unrighteous, the ones like them, don't we? Isn't that how we bring up our children? But God doesn't seem to work that way, and it just isn't fair. Notice what God does do. God forgives and rewards indiscriminately. God forgives the wicked people in Nineveh and rewards the workers in the vineyard as though they had been good and worked all day. And quite frankly, it makes us furious. Furious with God for being so unreasonable and unjust and unfair. It makes us sulk at God. Jonah had a magnificent sulk, and I love that bit about the evil eye of the workers. But how does God respond to our sulking? He does it very gently. God does not argue back or defend the actions God has taken, but God does not ignore us either. God uses a visual aid to reach out to Jonah. God uses Jesus Christ to reach out to us. We don't know what happened in Jonah's case. I hope he got the point. We do know what happened in Jesus' case. We are so angry with God, we killed him. So unable to admit our sinfulness, our need of mercy, our need of grace, that we lashed out in the biggest sulk imaginable and nailed him to the cross. For the kingdom of heaven is like a landowner who pays his workforce 1 denarii for a day's labour, not because they deserve it or because they have earned it, but because that is what a labourer needs to earn to support his family. The social situation in Jesus' day was that many small farmers were being forced off their land because of the debt they incurred paying Roman taxes. This violated the God of Israel's command that land should not be taken away from the people who work it. It's Leviticus 25, 8-13, if you want to look it up. But of course this was of no concern to the Romans. Consequently, large pools of unemployed men, and it was men, gathered each morning hoping to be hired for the day. Those still waiting at 5 o'clock had little chance of earning enough to buy food for their families that day. Yet this vineyard owner pays even them a full day's wage. Treating people fairly is not giving them what they deserve or have earned, but what they need. And what we need depends on where you start from. Like the counting sheep in the movie clip, being number 100 is really unfair until someone starts counting backwards. In fact, you have to treat people differently according to their particular needs and circumstances if you want to treat them equally, which fortunately God understands. So we are treated fairly. Thanks be to God.